Hello again, good people. Welcome to today's episode on the impacts of stress on our mental well-being. On behalf of Mind Matters Initiative again, my name is Invelata. I want to take this opportunity to welcome you all to this episode. Thank you for setting time aside to listen to me. Now, we understand that stress significantly affects our day-to-day activities. Apart from doing that, it also affects or impacts our mental well-being or our mental health. This might end up in a person's physiological or psychological well-being being affected. Now, let's look at the various ways on how stress affects mental health. Number one, we have anxiety and depression. Chronic stress, we understand from our previous episode what chronic stress is. This one is a long-term or prolonged type of stress that has not been dealt with. It contributes to the development of anxiety and contributes to disorders and depression. In situation whereby there is a continuous or prolonged response of chemical activities in the brain as a result of the stress or the stresses that one might be undergoing in their day-to-day life, it ends up increasing the risk of having depression and acute stress and all those disorders that comes with stress. Now we have the cognitive impairment or cognitive function. Stress also affects our cognitive function. How so? In my previous video, I had looked at the symptoms of stress, whereby there were certain symptoms under cognition. Now here, how does stress affects our cognitive function? We have prolonged stress impairs cognitive behaviors or cognitive decision making, such as memory loss or forgetfulness. We have a person lacking attention, impaired decision making. We have and other sorts of cognitive impairments. It is often due to adverse effects of stress hormones in the brain, taking place in the brain. We have emotional regulation. Now, someone who is undergoing prolonged stress is often faced with the difficulties in regulating their emotions. What do I mean by regulation of emotion? We have situations whereby those who have anger outbursts or constant mood swings due to little activities or situations that might be happening in their life. These people are constantly frustrated or may get irritable easily when confronted by anything. Now, apart from that, there is also how stress affects our emotions, whereby it diminishes the ability for one to feel pleasure. Like all those activities that one might have found enjoyable previously, they may totally lack interest in them. Therefore, when this situation is prolonged, it leads to a condition known as anhedony. Another way that stress affects our mental well-being is behavioral changes. What do I mean by behavioral changes? You find that when this person was extroverted or outgoing, they tend to be withdrawn from all kinds of social activities. They avoid all public areas. Others indulge themselves into smoking habits or substance abuse and all other negative behaviors. We have changes in sleep patterns or eating disorders or eating patterns. For example, some of these changes in eating patterns, they may end up developing eating disorders and sleep disorders. For example, we have the case of binge eating disorder, whereby the individual takes in a lot of food, while at the same time they are feeling a lack of control over the eating part. That is all about the binge eating disorder. We have anorexia nervosa. This anorexia nervosa is the intense fear of someone gaining weight. This commonly happens among the models and all those public figures, mostly in ladies. They are continuously confronted by the thought of gaining weight. Hence, they end up avoiding eating, thus resulting in them being underweight. We have the case of bulimia nervosa, whereby the individual takes in food, and then they end up compensating that aspect by going to the toilet to vomit or exercising too much. Yeah. On the part of sleep disorders, we have the cases whereby one might be facing insomnia. This is where they totally lack sleep or totally are unable to go to sleep. There is also the sleep disorder known as sleep apnea. This is whereby when an individual goes to sleep, they end up getting interrupted repeatedly. They get interrupted while they are sleeping. Hence, during daytime, they might end up being falling asleep more. We have the disorders whereby each and every night an individual might be having nightmares, making them erupt in their sleep. Yeah. Apart from those changes in behavior patterns, we have chronic illnesses exacerbation. What do I mean by this? This is whereby those individuals who were previously predisposed to mental health issues, when stress might trigger the symptoms that are commonly related to their respective mental health condition. And hence, when they are constantly faced by chronic stress, they might end up being triggered and falling back into the mental health issue that they are trying to manage. These are just some of the common ways that stress affects the mental well-being of an individual. Now, I understand that there are other physical ways that stress affects an individual. We'll talk about them more in our next video. Thank you for listening to me again today. Bye bye until next time.